We interrupt your regularly scheduled program for this special report.
Tiger fans, Greenville is a wonderful place to call home, and take it from me, a great place to grow your family. The housing market can be an extremely competitive and intimidating place if you don't have the right agent. That's why we recommend our friend and local agent Lana Smith with Live Upstate SC Real Estate. She is a native of Greenville and has been serving the needs of families in the upstate for over 20 years. You need an agent proficient in navigating the world of multiple offers who will put your needs first and guide you through the process. Let Lana help you achieve your real estate goals. Call her today at 864-608-8313. Again, that's 864-608-8313. And let's get moving. If you're looking for a great atmosphere and good food, you have to check out the Charleston Sports Pub. They're the premier sports bar location in South Carolina with locations in Clemson, Greenville, Goose Creek, James Island, Mount Pleasant, Summerville, and West Ashley. Watch all the games while you have fun playing all their games. Tiger fans, we dine there, legends dine there like Taj Boyd, and so should you. Go eat at the Charleston Sports Pub in Clemson every game day. 359 College Avenue, Clemson. Family owned and operated, serving Anderson County and surrounding areas since 1980. Heating and Cooling Services, Inc. is your residential and commercial comfort expert. Anything from preventative maintenance of your home HVAC system to overhauling a commercial chiller and everything in between. If you want to breathe easier and be nice and cool in your home or business this summer or warm this winter, give Heating and Cooling Services, Inc. a call today. Give Mark or Jason Tremmel a call at 864-224-7655. Again, 864-224-7655, and they'll take good care of you. Tiger fans, we don't just dress for success, we TS for success. That's Tiger Sports Shop. We shop there so much that they practically begged us to be sponsors for them. Not serious, but we do love shopping at Tiger Sports Shop in one of their two locations, 364 College Avenue and 1102 Tiger Boulevard in Clemson. If you're not in Clemson to check out the experience, stop by online at www.tigersports.com. Again, tigersports.com for all your game day needs.
We interrupt your regularly scheduled program for this special report.
Are you ready?
What's up, everyone? It's the Morgan Thomas Show. I'm your host and producer tonight, Morgan Thomas. You may see a little bit of a different background tonight. Moved rooms, so the man cave is now going from upstairs to downstairs, and so I'm getting some things set up here. So it looks like I just moved into a new house. Not a new house, same old house, but just a different room. But I appreciate everyone getting in over on the chat. We also have a new setup tonight. We're streaming using streamlabs.com and Streamlabs OBS. So something a little bit different here. New product, new system, new software, new background, new room, all the new stuff. If you know, last week I actually didn't do a live stream because I actually was trying to do a live stream, but I did my very first solo radio show on the Roar. We're not going to do any more radio shows for the remainder of the spring and in the summer. We're going to come back strong when football season starts back up in August. So we're still going to be on the radio. We're just going to take a little bit of a break and bring to you more content on YouTube. And I know a lot of you guys out there love our content on YouTube. So we'll be able to dedicate more stuff to YouTube. But I appreciate everybody getting in. Before we get to the shout outs to you, go ahead, put your name in there. We'll give you a shout out in a few minutes. Before we do that, though, let me introduce some of our co-hosts, our amazing, lovely, beautiful co-hosts. First up is the man, the myth, the legend, Big Al, Alan Adams. Welcome in, Big Al.
Man, it's good to be here. Like you said, everything's changing. I'm wearing a purple shirt, so I don't quite, blend in with the orange background so much because I didn't change rooms. I'm in the same corner of the same room, but we're still going to get it done. Still got a lot of good information, a lot of good stuff to talk about, Tiger, so I'm excited about the show.
Yeah, I appreciate you getting in, Al. I'm glad to talk to you. I know you had a week off, so hopefully you're rested up. And we are going to be starting with baseball. And let's talk about baseball, beginning with Mr. Houston Burnett. Welcome in, Houston.
Hey,
and welcome in down at the bottom there. I'm going to be toggling around tonight, maybe making some mistakes and trying some new things. So, everybody just bear with me as I go through the new show. But Houston, you got to take advantage of one of our longest fans of the show, Mr. Bill. He allowed you to go to a game this weekend. Is that right?
Yeah, shout out to Bill Lanham. Those tickets were spectacular. You couldn't ask for a better day. Like, you're in a good spot weather-wise when you're able to get sunburnt in February, and that's exactly what happened. And that I couldn't have had a better time. I did unfortunately have to leave after the ninth inning. I was on a time crunch to pick up supper that night. And, it's just one of those things. And it happens a lot. Good things happen when I'm not in the ballpark. And of course they walked one off as soon as I left the stadium.
Whoa. Alan, did you hear this?
I heard it. I'm not happy about it, but I heard it.
It happened. Honestly, I'm not kidding when I say this. It happened about 10 times in college where I'd leave and Clemson would walk off and win.
This man gets tickets and leaves before the walk-off?
It's embarrassing.
I had to. When you're trying to get a meal for a baby, that's just
okay.
Things,
for the
baby first.
She's going to come back and watch this exact episode and say, "Dad, why did you blame me for that?"
No, yep. Hey. I can get away with it right now.
What's the statute of limitations on using the baby as an excuse, by the way?
Yeah.
Mine are almost 7. I still use it at times, so I'm just curious.
Yeah, true. I mean, I think you could probably use it until they're 18, something like that. I got a baby. You can walk, talk, and function.
18, I could see 18 working. Yeah, I mean, you know what? As long as they're in the house, Yeah, all right, so let's get into the chat. We've already introduced everybody. I hope you are excited about the show. Talk some Clemson sports in general. We're going to be talking about a lot of Clemson stuff tonight. And I'm not, the expert in baseball at all, but we're going to start with baseball. And these guys are hopefully going to educate me. I did watch a little bit of some of the highlights and read up on some of the recaps and the box score, but that was about it. But let's get in and give some shout outs to you. First up is William Willis, this Light Bulb Bill over on TigerNet. If you know Light Bulb Bill, he's over in Beaufort today to everybody. So he says hello. We've got Kevin Kivit, I guess. Kivit?
Steve Kivit?
He's from Spartanburg. Steve, I'm saying Kevin. Where did I get Kevin from?
Yeah,
Steve.
Shout out to the Dirty Berg. Let's go.
He's in Spartanburg there. And then we've got Four Paws Bill, Tiger Paw, 1979. It's been a good week for Clemson sports. Wins everywhere. That's for sure. John Sarian says, getting fancy with the graphics. We like to be a little fancy over here. Bill or Tiger Paw 1979. I bet I should use his tag there. Don't leave out basketball again after they had an impressive win last night. Well, we're not going to leave them out. So don't worry about that. Don't worry about that at all. He also says, y'all burnt 9 minutes with the intro like Walt does. You know what? We want to be like Walt. It's, we're better than Road Rage. So this is the DX intro. All right.
DX.
There's a little bit of a delay, but it looks like it's caught up now. So I appreciate that. Al Kuhn gets in early tonight and says, go Tigers. Thank you so much, Al, for getting in over on Facebook. And then Bill also says, Beach Boy Allen. So he knows where you've been, Al. You weren't able to use the tickets because you were over in the beach, but
I know, unbelievable.
Mark Palmer, a longtime fan of ours over on Facebook. What's up, guys? Excited to be in Tiger Town tomorrow. So hopefully you'll get to see some of the games this weekend. It's they actually did some adjustments on the softball games. They're going to be doing a doubleheader Friday and Saturday, so that's exciting there. Al Kuhn, I think I spotted Houston on TV at the Clemson baseball game. Houston, maybe you got on TV now. Yeah, you're a TV star for it.
I mean, I've heard different people say that I might have gotten on. I don't think I was. I think there was somebody on the front row with a beard that looked similar to me and had a similar hat, because I think Bill's seats are just out of camera frame as far as that goes. But who knows? I might have gotten on there, and you might see this ugly mug on screen a little bit more hopefully this year.
The photo you sent me was really close to home. I mean, you almost touched home plate. That was pretty nice, though.
Yeah, it was great. It was the weirdest part about this weekend. There was, or at least at the game, there was an abnormal amount of Indiana fans there, and a ton of them were very loud and really obnoxious. Surprisingly, I thought in Big Ten baseball, you don't really think much about that, but there was like a 12-year-old kid sitting in that section, just going to town on the out, just going to town, and it was quite incredible to watch.
All those guys from the Midwest, Indiana, Ohio, before it's all said and done, they're going to eventually move here and be a South Carolinian. So, you know how it is. They always move down here and take over. Kevron gets in, one of our longtime fans over on Facebook, says, hi, Morgan, Allen, Houston. Welcome in. He goes, go Tigers as well. Let's see. He said he's from Cope SC. From Cope. Welcome in, Kevron. American Football Network. I think AFN has gotten in on the Roar a couple of times, but no Roar tonight for us. Yes, no Roar for the rest of really the spring and the summer, and then we're going to get into it. Ben Milstead said he would like to have us back in the fall when we can crank it back up for football. So be looking around the fall time. Anthony gets in also over on Facebook and said, hey guys, what's up? Anthony, welcome in. And I think I'm through the chat so far. So you can still get in with your questions, concerns, emotional outbursts, and we will get to them eventually. But since we've given shout outs to everyone, we really appreciate it for you joining us in. Don't forget, the best thing you can do for the show is to just hit the like button. You don't have to share it or anything like that, but just hit the like button. That really helps too. So get in there over on Facebook and YouTube and hit the like button. All right. So now I'm going to let you guys kind of handle this. I don't know who you want to start with, but Houston, since you were there, we'll go ahead and let you lead into it. But I will tee this up for you. So Clemson, as Houston mentioned, played Indiana last weekend. They had a 3-game series, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Won 9-0. 19-4, and then in 10 innings, 5-4. That was the walk-off. That was where Houston was there. So they swept the weekend. And then on Tuesday, they played College of Charleston and won 2-1. So they're currently standing at 4 wins and no losses right now. So undefeated and swept their first series. Houston, take it away. What's your thoughts on the baseball team starting out the gate?
Well, and Allen can cut in at any point in time. I feel like you couldn't have asked for a better start to the season given how last year ended. They looked dominant on Friday and Saturday. They had some shakiness on Saturday, but then as far as Sunday and the midweek game, they had some gutty wins, got down early on Saturday as well, and found a way to win all of those. And there's a lot I like about this team. The pitching has been outstanding. Mac England is legit. I think a lot, and Alan will probably agree, the Sunday and Saturday starters probably need to see a little bit more out of both of the Knicks, Clayton and Hoffman. But as far as the bullpen goes, lights out. That's the first thing I noticed. There are some names that are legit guys this year. And I don't want to overcook the ham because it's just one series and one midweek game. There's a lot of baseball to go, but there's a lot of good things to glean from this. And I think compared to other ACC teams, this is probably one of the better starts of the year for a team in the ACC.
Yeah, no, I agree a lot with what Houston said. I'll do something that, Corey and I used to do when we had our Around the Bases show. As a matter of fact, I just see Corey get in there and said the bullpen is thumbs up, so he got in the comments. But, yeah, we used to do, I think, something called the good, the bad, and the ugly, where I used to kind of go through what, our thoughts from the weekend. The good thing, like Houston said, we swept all 4 games. And that's a big deal, and it's a quality opponent, compared on who we're usually starting off the season with. So I really like the fact that we're able to win all those games because usually, we end up dropping one of those to kind of start off. So that was kind of cool. A lot of people thought Indiana might be a tournament team, and maybe they will be. Who knows? But it's certainly in name, at least, a bigger opponent than we usually face, and we were able to win all 3 of those games. Mac England, man, he's your Friday night guy. That's the Friday night guy we've been looking for. He did awesome. And so he's got great stuff. Billy Barlow was the guy that pitched against College of Charleston. He actually looked pretty good. I mean, he only pitched a little over 4 innings, I think, something like that. So you don't want to take too much away from that. It was College of Charleston, but still, I mean, it's a solid start. It's something that you're looking for from those kind of guys to kind of see maybe on down the line whether you want him to be a weekend starter or not. And the bullpen, just fantastic. Like Houston was saying, Jay Dill looked really good. Ty Olenchuk looked really good. Edmondson looked good. Gilbert looked good. It's just we've got some arms there. What you got to figure out is the weekend guys. Cooper Ingle, Caden Grice both carried the offense. I really like what I've seen from Ingle's approach. I really like what he brings to the table, and we all know what Caden Grice brings to the table, and he hit another couple bombs this weekend. The bad from the weekend, Clemson strikeouts, man, it was a theme. It's been a theme for a few years, it seems like now. It's a theme again. We had 54 strikeouts in 4 games. That's way too many strikeouts, okay? It's not good. In the first 2 games, if I'm not mistaken, the first one was 16, the next one was 17. We actually had a decent game 3. I think we only had about 8, and then came back with another 13 on Tuesday. So it's too many strikeouts. We got to, we're going to have to put the ball in play and make the defense make a play a little bit more. It's just it's not really our baseball philosophy. So we'll see how that goes, if we can turn that around a little bit. I don't like the fact that our Saturday and Sunday starters were, not up to par, so to speak. Clayton got beat around a little bit at the start of the game, gave up 3 or 4 runs. I don't see him particularly as a weekend starter guy, but right now I think he's a guy. I think he must have earned it over the offseason, and I don't think Monty Lee's going to overreact to one bad game. We'll kind of see how he goes from here. Hoffman, same thing. He did fine. Hoffman actually pitched okay, I guess. But it's going to be interesting to see, when we get 3 or 4 weeks down the road, if the starting lineup is the same on the weekend. Maybe these guys settle in and do just fine. But we'll kind of see how that rolls. We scored 2 runs against College of Charleston. That was a little disappointing as well. I think, when you face a lesser pitching staff, so to speak, that you should be able to get more than 2 runs. And it came off a Caden Grice homer, as well as most of our runs do, it seems like. As far as the ugly is concerned, if you watch the Indiana series, especially that second game, the pitchers were all over the place. A lot of walks, a lot of hit by pitches. They had 36 total walks against Indiana. That's an insane amount. That's like a worse stat than Clemson strikeout numbers. The fact that they walked or hit 36 batters, that's absolutely ridiculous. We scored Clemson in, I think it was the 6th inning on Saturday when we came back and scored 19 unanswered. We scored 7 runs in that inning with 2 hits. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. And so, they were a little wild this weekend, but I came out of this weekend happy that we, obviously were able to sweep the games. How are you happier, than 4-0? But I do still have some reservations about the Clemson team. I'm still in wait and see mode. Like I said, I don't like the strikeouts. I want to find something more a little more special for Saturday and Sunday starters. But I want to see what we can do against a quality pitching opponent, because Indiana flat out could not find the strike zone all weekend. They couldn't do it. They weren't just wild. They were bad off. So when we face some really quality pitching, that's kind of when I think we're going to see what this team's got and what they're going to be able to do this year. But got a series with Hartford this weekend, so hopefully we can keep the magic going, get another sweep there, and kind of just improve little baby steps as we go along, make a little more contact, a little better on the mound for the Saturday and Sunday guys, and try to go from there. But so far, great start for the Clemson baseball team. I like what I'm seeing.
Well, I love your recaps, Al. I know you really enjoy watching Clemson baseball, following Clemson baseball. Same thing for Houston as well. Hopefully you can tell, how much we care about covering, not just football. We try to do everything. I'm a big football and recruiting guy, but I know Al is big in baseball. Houston also baseball and basketball. So we're going to try to give a little bit of love all the way around. And getting into the chat, so let's throw it up here. Al already mentioned it. Corey Welch said bullpen is thumbs up. Speaking of thumbs up, hit the thumbs up on the video to help with our algorithm. Alan mentioned that one. And Tiger Paul 1979 gets in, says way too many strikeouts by Tiger baseball batters, something like 40% at bats we struck out. Alan mentioned 54 total strikeouts. Houston, is that the biggest concern, or is it walks like Alan was saying from the pitching?
I mean, either or. You could say that the strikeouts, because it's a more consistent theme. The walks kind of get masked by the fact that the bullpen they've had moments where they look really good. Like the
walks were in our favor, guys. Yeah, the walks were in our favor.
Walks were in our
Clemson
favor.
walked that many times.
Oh, yeah, okay. Sorry. So
yeah, you walk 36 times, and a lot of that gets masked now. I like to think that this team is a little more akin to the 2020 team that the season got canceled. I wish we could have seen what that team turned into, because you saw them turning the corner. They had arms, they had a good bullpen, and they were starting to grow into their hitting a little bit more as the season progressed. That before everything went the way that it did, they had a great series against South Carolina and had a comeback win against a good Winthrop team before everything went the way that it did. And I want to see if you get a full season behind this team. Not saying that the strikeouts will improve. I just think that's just how baseball is right now. You look at the pros, you look at all across college baseball, strikeouts are up a lot. Because to be honest, a lot of people have adopted what Clemson's trying to do, just go for the big ball every time. And so that's going to happen. But if you do go against a quality pitching staff, what's going to happen? That's probably the biggest concern there.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the stat sheet, and I'm seeing Caden Grice, Cooper Ingle, and those two guys are really up there. Obviously, as Alan mentioned, 8 RBIs for Caden Grice, 5 for Ingle, 13 total bases, 2 home runs for Grice. So those two guys are definitely bringing it. Now, someone in chat, we got AFN, American Football Network, says, don't forget about Ben Blackwell. Now, Ben Blackwell, number 4, batting 300 average. He's got 5 runs, 3 hits, 1 home run, 3 RBIs, and 6 total bases. I didn't hear you guys say much about Blackwell. You want to give your thoughts on him?
I thought he did great. Yeah, he's our shortstop. I thought he did great. He kind of came in, and I don't think he was a real home run hitter, and he just cranks one right off the bat. So that was really cool. It was nice to see that he had a little power there. But yeah, he's a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure he's the only one hitting anywhere close to 300, except for those other 2 you mentioned. I think he's kind of the only one there. Everybody else has got a lot of work to do to get up to that 300 mark everybody loves.
Yeah, and the sad thing is, I think there's some guys that aren't getting as much love because they had, specifically in the Sunday game, whoever Indiana's outfielder was, specifically in center field, was playing a heck of a game. He probably robbed about 2 homers. One of those was off of Billy Amick. There was a couple guys that had great games and it's just not going to show up because somebody was having a spectacular game. So there's a few guys that might be a little closer than what the average says. But like I said, they just need to progress as the season goes on, and we'll see how this goes.
Yep.
Clemson Carson gets in. He says, "What's up, guys?" And he also says, "I've been really impressed by the pitching staff so far. The hitting needs to be better. The amount of strikeouts has to come down, especially before next weekend." So when you're talking about next weekend, let me pull that up real quick. They're coming into this weekend. They're going to play Hartford in a 3-game series in Clemson. 4 p.m. tomorrow, 3 p.m. Saturday, 1 p.m. on Sunday. I'm assuming that when he's talking about next weekend, he's talking about the rivalry weekend. That is in Columbia Friday, Columbia Saturday, and then Clemson Sunday. Are you guys? What do you got? What are your initial thoughts about that rivalry game coming up?
I hope we win. That's really my initial thoughts. I know nothing about South Carolina.
Well,
so.
and I haven't got a chance to watch much of them. I've only got to keep up on Twitter. But what I will say is, they struggled all 3 games with UNC Greensboro. All 3
of them did.
And
they scored what, 6 runs in the 9th and one to come back and win,
or they would have lost the series to UNCG.
Right.
And they struggled. They almost blew the lead on Friday night to them. So I don't know. It just you can't tell with these types of things, but. I think that they got a shot, at least if the pitching staff is the way that it is and they continue to improve hitting. You always got a shot.
Corey Welch gets in over on Facebook. Other teams to watch in the ACC: Georgia Tech, NC State, and Florida State. Those seem to be ones that I hear a lot. Thankfully, NC State's not until April. I'm looking at Georgia Tech, not until May. I don't see when's. Are they playing Florida? No, there it is. Florida State they had their FSU logo instead of the Seminole, but that is at the end of April as well on their schedule. So coming up, we'll have to wait a little bit for those 3 games, but they'll be coming up soon before you know it. Al Kuhn gets in, says, "What do you think about the number of high strikeouts? Seems same as last year." I feel like the overall consensus is, still kind of waiting to see if you guys would agree with that. It's not something you want to see. You don't want to see that many strikeouts at all from one weekend, but it's something you'll have to kind of wait and see how they do, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, you're going to see a lot of strikeouts with Clemson. That's just kind of the way it works because they're taking big swings. It's kind of, it seems like that's the way they're taught. That's the philosophy they're going with, and that's what they're going to do. So you're going to see more strikeouts than you want at all times. You just got to lessen that number just a little bit, and you're going to be fine.
That's the way I am, man. Go big or go home. I mean, that's the way I am, man. I'm like either hit a home run or strike out.
Sure.
Most of the time,
Did you ever hit a home run?
I don't think I ever hit a home run, but that's what I was going for. That was my goal from the beginning. Okay, so if you have that goal in mind, eventually it'll happen. Now it just happens to happen more for Clemson, thankfully.
Sure.
But I mean, anything can happen now. Anything can happen.
Sure. I have faith.
All right. So we talked about baseball, and we spent way too much time on baseball because I don't know anything about baseball. You guys talk way too much. I'm gonna mess around with some of this stuff. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Houston. Look how small you got.
Yeah, I know, right?
Whenever you start like giving me those bad looks, like I just said something dumb, I'm gonna make you really small. Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Do it.
You know what? You can't give me the clicker. This is how I am with the remote. So, all right. So we'll get back into it. Now we're going to transition over and we'll get back into the chat as well. And by the way, Tiger Paul says Will Taylor may be in the lineup by April. So that's something to look out for too.
Yeah.
And my dad gets in on the Facebook and says what the game times are: 4, 3, and 1. All right. So, and there is some inclement weather coming up this week or this weekend. That's why softball changed up their schedule. But for Clemson men's basketball, now, if anybody listened to my radio show last week, I was very heated. I called Alan. He didn't answer. Normally, he never does. But Houston answered, and I told him maybe Houston didn't even. Maybe it was Faxon that answered. I don't even think Houston answered.
We talked.
Okay. Houston thankfully answered me.
Yeah.
I did my little Brad Brownell vent, that I was just frustrated. I felt like a lot of the fans were checked out. I didn't really know what they were going to do with the rest of the season. Five games left, but I did end it on a positive note. I did say, whatever it is, the players do not seem to have checked out. Some of the fans may have checked out, but the players have not. So in that sense, I say, stick with them, keep supporting them. If you still have tickets, go to the games. If you haven't, if you're in town and you can't go to the game, just support them. They have 3 home games left. And of those 5 games, most people that were checked out said, they're just going to lose all 5. Well, they just won one of them, which they really weren't supposed to win by any means, any stretch at all. So Clemson currently win and loss in the conference, fellas, 5-12 in the conference, which is 3rd worst. If they were 4-13, they would be tied for worst. So they're just 1 win above worst in the ACC as far as a conference win-loss record. Overall, they are 13-15 with 4 games to go. So they actually do have a chance to finish out with a winning record overall by the end of this year, which I know, like I said, if you're checked out, you're checked out. But that game against Wake Forest, not only did they win, but they won by double digits without PJ Hall. So 80-69. Now you know what, you guys, you know what I like to do. I like to go and read the opposing team's message board and their write-ups. Well, Wake Forest writers and fans are just shocked as we are that Clemson won. They did not think that even with players down that they would lose. Now, the thing about Wake Forest is it seems that they're nervous now because they're at risk of not even being in the top 4 and having a double bye in the ACC tournament. So not winning this game hurt them really bad in the ACC tournament, or could potentially hurt them bad in the ACC tournament. For Clemson, though, it was kind of like nothing else to lose, right? I mean, I'll start with Al on this one since we did Houston before, but you had PJ Hall, who didn't play. You have, obviously, Hunter Tyson, who's not playing, who's out. You played your starters, Ben Middlebrooks, Ian Shefflin, and Chase Hunter, Nick Honor, and Collins. So you had, that was your starting 5. That's not what you would expect or want to see from Clemson. You want to see PJ Hall in there. You want to see Tyson in there. But they were able to kind of scrap their way into it, and they held the lead the entire game. Mm-hmm. Wake Forest never had the lead. So, Al, were you shocked by this as basically everybody was?
Well, yeah. I mean, that, to put it mildly, I was shocked. And what's crazy is, and this is going to be sad, it's a sad admission because I haven't done this in a long time, but with the weekend I was at the beach, I was trying to focus on baseball, and I didn't see the basketball game against Louisville. We had lost a few before. I was at youth on Wednesday night, so I didn't get to see the game against Wake Forest either. I had almost mentally checked out of the season. I mean, it's been that rough here at the end. It's really gone downhill in a hurry. I mean, we were so close a couple of times. We should have beaten North Carolina, and we let them get a wide open layup at the end. We competed with Duke in Cameron, and it just didn't happen. So it's been an interesting season. But I was very glad. I mean, it's so awesome to see for the guys, for the team, for the potential moving forward when they're able to overcome all that they've had to deal with and get a big win against Wake Forest. And I hope that we see nothing but that kind of enthusiasm and that kind of grit, the rest of the year as they finish strong. Who knows? Maybe some crazy magic will happen in the ACC tournament.
Yeah. I mean, trying to pick out how this team is going to finish out is like trying to herd cats, man. Like, yeah. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I tried to make videos in the past, and it was just like, man, it was like one finding a way to lose a game that they could not lose, and they just figured out ways to do it. And then once pretty much all hope is lost, and it comes down to the point where if you lose another game, you're going to have a losing record for the regular season, they win. And credit to them. I was not expecting them. It was hard for me to watch this week because I was up in the mountains, and our connection – Direct TV, and they don't have ACC network, and the connection up there was terrible. But I was able to basically I piecemealed it together, basically, keeping up with the game, kind of sketchy like that. But it was a good win. But kind of prognosticating on where you go from here, I don't know what to tell you. As good as this team looked on the other night, they could go lay an egg at Boston College, and it would not surprise me. It would not surprise me either way. And I don't know what to tell you. They have 2 more games at home, which is good. And theoretically, they should beat Georgia Tech, but I don't know. And Virginia Tech also it's a team similar to Wake Forest, but to me, they have a lot more on the line than Wake Forest, because they're not just playing. Wake Forest, I'm 95% sure is going to be in the tournament, like the NCAA tournament. Virginia Tech is fighting for their life to get into the tournament. And I don't know what to tell you. It's one of those things where this season could be an all right finish, I guess, but it could also really pancake at the end and just fall apart. So I don't know. That's basically what I have to say.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to have to win out to have a winning record for the entire season. That's going to be difficult with a team that's, basically limping to the finish line right now.
Yeah, David Collins is injured too now. Got that carried you the other night. He's having an injury issue. PJ Hall, Hunter Tyson. I mean, if you don't have David Collins, who, despite his horrible free throw shooting percentage, he gets to the lane. That's his strong suit. And not being able to have someone who can slash like that, and now you're just relying on threes. It's like, man, I hope you're able to replicate what you did the other night, but buddy, it's going to be tough.
Let's get in the chat real quick. Clemson Carson gets in and says, I don't want to be that guy again, but it's time for Brownell to go. I'm sick and tired of seeing the same old thing every year, and the other night doesn't change anything. I know for a lot of fans feel the same way, Carson. I mean, I expressed it on the radio that, you have to be careful what you say on the radio. Obviously it's the Clemson network, so you don't want to be too critical, but there is a point where for me, it's not so much about this year. Like, it's about the entire body of work. I just feel like as a fan, the team has its ceiling. Like Brad Brownell, it's kind of like Tommy Bowden couldn't win any more than 9 games. I feel like Brad Brownell is kind of met his max. And that's okay. Like, he's not bad as a coach, but do we want it? Is this what we want? I mean, for me, I've got a taste of a winning program in softball, in football, and I want to see it in basketball too. I mean, I love watching basketball when they're playing really well, and I want to see that. And I'm not going to shy away from saying that just because, we're in a public setting. Do I want somebody fired? No, I never want somebody fired. Hey, I've been fired. It sucks, but it doesn't suck as much when you're a millionaire. But I will say this. Like I said, I don't think he's a bad coach. I know all the players love him. I know all the former players love him. I know that PJ Hall loves him. I mean, we know these things. But the fact of the matter is, as a program as a whole, what is their hump to get over? I mean, the hump is to get into the NCAA tournament regularly. And do you really see that ever? I mean, in my opinion, I don't. Al Kuhn go ahead.
Didn't mean to cut you off there, man.
Al Kuhn gets in on Facebook and says Wake Forest didn't play well except for hitting enough threes to keep them in the game. Now, when I read the Wake Forest write-up on it, they basically said, it was a disgusting loss. They were really frustrated that they couldn't do anything with the Clemson zone. And but they also mentioned that their number one player, or their leading scorer, had 4 fouls in the first 4 minutes of the second half. So he was sat for 10 minutes. So their best shooter was sat. So that's one point. The other thing is they had their second best player didn't even play, and their best their best backup or bench player only played 1 minute, and then he got hurt. So while they did say it was a terrible loss and they should have even still won, and it definitely shouldn't have been a game where they never had the lead, they also admitted that they're definitely flawed and they're not going to go very far in the tournament if they can't beat the zone. Because other teams like Clemson basically copied what Notre Dame did to them and won. So can Wake Forest rebound from that? We'll have to see what happens in the NCAA tournament, in the ACC tournament. But still, it was a wounded or a man down Wake Forest team as well. But I mean, I think even with all that said, Clemson was more wounded of the 2 wounded. So to me, it was better for Clemson win, but you never want to be that team that is the bad loss for people. Like that's where the team is right this year. They're if you lose to them and you're a winning team, you're the bad loss. And
when you're holding your rival out of the NIT because you're their bad loss, that's a pretty bad year.
well, that's a good way.
Glass half full, I guess.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's what would happen if they beat us in football. So they would hold us out, which is that's really the only thing they really have to look forward to in most years right now. But all right, Steve gets in over on YouTube and says he's impressed with how hard this team competes. I mean, like I said, it's no knock against the actual players. I think you guys would agree with that, right? No knock against the players.
Yeah, I think we're a very talented team. I just think there's a common thread. We've had a lot of talent ever since Purnell left. There's just a common thread here.
John gets in on YouTube and says Brownell teams are the best in the ACC at swinging between ice cold and really hot, especially on threes, 40% and 20%. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just the consistency there. Now, Clemson Carson says, now, I'm not saying we should make the Sweet 16 every year because that's just not realistic, but I think we should be expecting to be fighting for the tournament or at least be on the outside looking in. So basically what Clemson Carson's saying now, and you guys tell me if you agree, what Clemson Carson on YouTube is saying is that they need to be in the top half of the ACC because the top half of the ACC basically is fighting for that recognition. And Clemson has been there many years. So we know that feeling of fighting to get into the tournament and being on the bubble, as they say. And I think you have to be in the top 7, of the ACC to be in that range. So it doesn't, like I said, you don't have to be the best ACC team. You may never be the best ACC team because of, how things work, but behind the scenes from what I'm being told, but it's not unrealistic to be in the top half of the ACC because you've done it. We get that. Like as my old sales manager used to say, we get the wet the beak. You wetted our beak, and then you took it away. And so what's going on? Why? Al, would you agree? Is that realistic to say that Clemson should be looking to get in the top half of the ACC or finish in the top half of the ACC regularly?
Yeah, without a doubt. I think it is. I'm one who likes to set realistic expectations. Even though every single night they play a basketball game, I think they have a chance to win. I'll convince myself they have a chance to win. I don't care if it's Duke. I don't care if it's North Carolina. It doesn't matter to me. I always convince myself of that. So come game time, I'm always the optimist. But yeah, I think that's very realistic. I'm not saying we need to make the tournament every year. I mean, I think that would be a little unrealistic for this Clemson program, but I don't think it's unrealistic to be in the conversation each year. I think that's something we could definitely make, and I think we should strive to do so.
Yeah, I agree with that. I broke this down of like a 6-year span. If you go to 4 tournaments out of those 6, like if the expectation is just get there. And I mean, ideally it'd be get there in advance. See where we go from there. Ideally, we don't want a Purnell situation where it's like, let's just get there and we're happy to be there. Right. Where it's just like, get there, let's see what happens. But I think the main thing is get someone who is going to get expectations for everyone, players, coaching staff, program as a whole, fans. The expectations should be to be in the mix for the tournament every year. We don't want to be looking in whether or not we're going to be going to the NIT or not, which that seems to have sailed out the window this year. That shouldn't be the expectation. The expectation is let's go to the tournament. Let's see what happens. And if not, we swing and we end up in the NIT. Let's go win the NIT because we haven't won one of those.
Well, fellas, I appreciate you talking Clemson baseball, Clemson basketball. Really one of the few, maybe not if the only YouTube video show that talks basketball, baseball, softball, football, recruiting. I mean, we literally do everything. So I really appreciate Al and Houston's comments on that. And you guys in the comments telling us about how you feel about both teams. Some good and bad on both ends. One team's finishing up their season, another team starting out their season. But I wanted to talk about the women's softball team before we get into our recruiting videos that we're going to do some highlights. We're going to try to get in some highlights tonight of Nathaniel Joseph, Ray Joseph, of Christopher Vizina, and Justice Haynes. We're going to try to get those in by the end of the show. So thank you for sticking around. If you have, we are going to have that recruiting video that you guys love out there. But let's start with this. I'm just going to quickly cover softball real quick. They came off a good weekend. Now, it was a decent weekend. Wasn't the best as their previous weekend. So they've been away from home for quite some time. They went to Fort Myers, Florida, and played the Florida Gulf Coast Classic, or Kickoff Classic. They beat Florida Gulf Coast 11-0. They turn around and beat Kent State 8-0. And then they play a top 10 Texas team, and the Bats just go cold. Now, their pitcher is really, really good, by the way, but Clemson couldn't get anything going. It was disappointing for me. I was really looking forward to seeing what they could do. The sad thing is it wasn't on TV at all, so it was very hard to even figure out what was going on. I was having to watch the stats and the updates on Twitter. But again, Clemson comes out, destroys the first two teams, and then just the Bats go cold out of nowhere against Texas. Texas then plays their next game and loses to Florida Gulf Coast, who Clemson just destroyed the night before. So I was like, what is going on here? This doesn't make any sense. And then Long Island University, the Sunday game, it was 0-0 going into, I believe, the very last inning or next to last inning. And the girls just got hot and scored 8 runs in one inning and walked it off at that point. And then the next Sunday game was Boston College. That one got canceled because of bad weather. They came home, they rested up, and then the next weekend they went to St. Pete Clearwater, where our guy Four Paws Bill, he was also there enjoying the beautiful weather and the great softball. Now, this, I said on the radio, was a huge weekend because you're playing like 3 really, really good teams that you're lined up to play that weekend. It was almost like a tournament, an NCAA tournament type weekend. Texas Tech was your first up. They're not ranked. That should have been a good win, and it was. They won 8-0 very easily. I don't know if you guys realize this, but I didn't realize this before, but, if they get 8 runs, there's an 8-run rule. Like if they get 8 runs before 7 innings, then they call it. So, if it's 8-0, then they just finish the game up. So a lot of these games, when they get that many runs up there, and Clemson has the ability to just rack up runs really quick, before you know it, it's like, oh man, the game's over with, So they won that game. They come out and they get into a really, really good game against Tennessee, a top 20 team, Tennessee, and they beat them 4-3 on a walk-off there. Then they come out the next day on Saturday and play a top 25 Northwestern team and get blanked 7-0. I didn't get to watch that game, but basically it looked like the Coach Rittman just tried to tweak some things. He went with a different pitcher. You don't always want to pitch Valerie Cagle. You can't always pitch her every single game. So you have to switch it up. And then they switched up the lineup. And then they had a heartbreaker, Al, Houston. They played Wisconsin and they were winning. And then they let them tie it in the last inning. And then in extra innings, they lost 2-1. So that was a heartbreaker. But so the next day I was getting ready to go to church, and they're getting ready to play Washington Huskies. So I tell my daughter, she loves purple and she loves Huskies. So this was the game of all games. This was 10:30 a.m. I said, hey, we're going to go to church and we're going to come home. We're going to watch it. We come home, we watch it. Obviously my daughter's cheering for the Clemson, but also cheering for the Huskies. So it's very, very hard for me. But they have one of the best pitchers in the nation, and Valerie Cagle got up there. And she had been struggling, but really turned it on again. Not only did she pitch a shutout, not allowing any scores, but she also hit a home run in that game. So she scored the points too. So she did. Obviously, our superstar was our superstar, against the Huskies. The first ever top 10 win for Clemson in the softball history. Team 3. So not much going on there. Not much history there for them. So they got their first single-digit win against a ranked team. And then just Wednesday, they played Charlotte and beat them. A really good, I think they were like 9-1 Charlotte team. The biggest thing for me, Cagle can get a little bit, with the way she pitches, the JoJo Hyatt sometimes has a hard time keeping track of it, and sometimes they get wild. Sometimes she hits people and walks them unnecessarily. So she just got to stay confident and stay in control of her ball in critical situations. And then on the flip side, she's got to have some help with the bat. She's got to have help with Marissa Gumbarda. She has not really been that hot starting out the season, but did hit a home run against Charlotte on Wednesday. So hopefully that'll kind of like trigger her to get back to form, because she is the power hitter for the Tigers there too. So I'm excited, man. They got the Clemson Classic this weekend. So they have 2 games on Friday, Boston University and St. Francis, and then 2 games on Saturday versus Akron and whoever is the winner of those other games that are playing in the round robin style there for the weekend. So did you guys get a chance to watch any of the games or see how they did this weekend and last weekend?
Yeah, I mean, my thought process is if you're sitting at 8-3 throughout all of this, you're 2-2 against ranked teams with a top 5 win. Your only losses are to the number 4 team in the nation, to a good Wisconsin team, and I know that you might not watch the Northwestern game. Northwestern had a pitcher that was dealing. They had a good pitcher, and if you notice the rankings, they've gone from the 20s to 9th.
Now I watched Northwest. I looked at the box score, and when you look at it looks like she was just a superstar ground ball pitcher. I mean, literally anything that came off the bat for Clemson was a ground ball to one of the infielders.
Yeah, and I mean, she was striking out a lot of them too. I only got to watch a little bit of that, but I mean, all things considered, you're 2-2 against ranked teams. You're still ranked in the top 15. You got a shot to be in the top 10. You get a couple shots to go against the top ACC competition here in a few weeks. I think they're in good position, considering that this is their 3rd team ever, and you're already challenging to host a regional and potentially host a super regional. Just think of the optics there. I think it's pretty great.
And it goes back to what Kwok and Kelly said on the radio. They suffered last year because they didn't have those high-profile out-of-conference wins. To your point, Houston, this year they really are pushing for that ability to get a regional because of that Washington win and of that Tennessee win. So, Al, you got any thoughts before we move on to recruiting?
I don't. I haven't seen any. I'll be honest. I don't watch the softball team. I watch them when they get to the playoffs. I watch them there. I'm always pulling for them behind the scenes, but I got so much going on with the show and with youth and with baseball. Something's got to give, as I like to say. Something's got to give, and softball is just not on the menu right now.
Something's got to give. I hear you. All right. Well, guess what? Clemson, American Football Network says best Clemson show on YouTube. Woo-hoo! Yes. Thank you so much. We appreciate the support there. All right, fellas, we're almost at our 8 o'clock hour. We really didn't talk about any football. That is kind of crazy that the most popular sport has not been talked about. We've been recording for about 53 minutes, so we want to give everybody a full hour here. So we're at least going to get through one, and if I can beg you guys to get through the other 2, we can do that. I have my notes. I have the video up. So let me go ahead. I actually went ahead and downloaded the video, and I'm going to load those in real quick because the recommendation for this is to load the video in. So I'm going to load the video in here. We got Nathaniel Joseph. That's Ray Joseph. Let me pull him up real quick. And I will share that to the stream here. All right. So we're all on the left-hand side. You guys see that?
I see it.
Yep.
All right. So let me go ahead. We'll start the video. And
there's no video.
There we go. All right. So Nathaniel Joseph, wide receiver. He's already committed to the Tigers, committed on September 10th of 2021. 5'8", 170 pounds from Edson High School in Miami, Florida, 2023 guy. Now we're moving into our 2023 commits and recruits that Clemson's going after. 4-star overall on 24/7 Sports Composite, top 100 player in the nation, one of the best wide receivers in the nation, has 35 total offers from Clemson, Miami, Alabama, Arizona State, Coastal Carolina, but committed currently to Clemson. I know a lot of rumors out there that Mario Cristobal and team and Josh Gaddis are going to try to go after Ray Joseph and steal him from the Tigers. But this is an electric wide receiver that Clemson has as their only commit so far in the 2023 class. Now, when I look at wide receivers, you typically want to see somebody that's maybe taller or bigger, but this guy fits that perfect slot receiver role. And he is super, super dynamic and elusive on the field. He is somebody that reminds me a ton of a faster Amari Rogers. I know I was going to say Artavis Scott, but Artavis Scott was actually over 6 foot tall. So this guy is not 6 foot tall. Al, what's your thoughts? We'll start out with you on Nathaniel Joseph.
Well, I like the comparison, first of all. That's from Morgan Thomas as always. Look, great speed. Great explosion. You can see that on the film. He's got really good balance. I think you saw earlier in one of his highlights, he got, slung completely around and somehow kept his feet, cut it back for a touchdown. It's always good to see. He's got excellent vision. Something I noticed in his film is I think he seems to have pretty soft hands. He's a pretty natural pass catcher. And one thing I really, really love about this guy, and you see it in some of his highlights maybe later on, he's really adjusts for the quarterback on the fly. When the quarterback's scrambling, this guy just knows where to go to get open, and that's a very good thing. I remember watching his film and thinking, I really want to see more contested catches from this guy, because what he does in a lot of his film is just stand there and wait for him to throw the ball and then takes off with it, like on a little screen pass. But you can see some contested catches later in the film, so that was something I really wanted to see from him and was able to. Look, there's no way to tell from the highlights whether he's going to be a willing blocker, if he's going to come in and play like the Collins boys did at the end of the year this past season. So hopefully he's able to do that. But he is the kind of slot receiver Clemson needs to update this offense. I think this is the kind of guy that has. This is the Clemson needs and has lacked.
Houston, what are your thoughts on him?
If you're looking for a player comp, I know people at home are going to hate this, but I'm only saying this because I wanted him to be in orange and purple, and he went to my high school, and I got to shout him out. But he just played for an NFC championship. Deebo Samuels is a lot of what I see out of this kid. And I saw Deebo play in high school, and he did a lot of the same things. He just does things with the ball. You could also draw comparisons to Antonio Williams. Antonio Williams has a lot of things that he could do, even though Antonio Williams is a little taller and he can be used a little bit more than just slot. This guy's got a lot to offer. And I think to Alan's point, it's true. We haven't had a true slot guy like this to come through and have game-breaking speed in a minute. And I think if you're able to hang on to him, which I feel good thus far of all the returns, he seems to be really loyal to that offer. You get him on campus, this guy's going to be Hollywood, man. This guy's got some film.
I mean, I like what I see. I got a lot of thoughts about just how explosive he is. I mean, you just see like within moments he's gone. He knows how to make, like when I look at things that I'm looking for. Okay, is he a consistent threat every time he's on the field? I think you guys would both agree that is definitely the case. I think it would definitely happen. I'm just thinking, imagine a wide receiver lineup where you have Bo Collins, Adam Randall on the outside. And then you have Antonio Williams, and you have Ray Joseph in the slot on the insides, and you could interchange Dakari Collins in there as too. I don't want to disrespect any of the other great outside receivers, but we noticed that last year Clemson was lacking that slot guy. Obviously, he's not going to be on the team this season, but coming into the 2023 season, I got to feel like as dynamic as he already is and elusive and just amazingly fast he is, you're not going to be able to keep this guy off on the field. I mean, you're not going to be able to keep him off the field. He's going to be in special teams, I think it looks like, and he's going to be on the field trying to get those. I mean, he already does those bread and butter like wide receiver screen plays. One catch, one turn, gone. I mean, there's nothing to hate about his film. I love everything about it. Al, we talked about how great someone like Branson Watt Robinson's film looks. This guy and Justice Haynes, which we're going to go over here too. I mean, these guys, how can you not get excited about these players when you see their film? Now, I know they only show you their best stuff. Is there anything? I mean, I cannot pick out one thing that I don't like about these guys, other than he's my height. I mean, but I think that works great for his position. Not everybody can be 6'4" like Allen. Some of us guys gotta get in the slot position and do the dirty work. Al, what do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, the only knock I could come up with is just there's no film on him blocking, and of course they're not gonna have any film on him blocking. It's a highlight film. They're supposed to show the good stuff. But I think that's just kind of it. You want a physical receiver. You want a guy that's going to do the work when the ball's not coming to him. It's something that Clemson loves. It's something Clemson teaches, and that's the kind of stuff you're looking for. And all those intangibles you just can't see on film, and the ones that you can't see what kind of player he is play in and play out because we're not at the games. We're just seeing the best of the best here.
How much movement does he waste? Not a lot. Does he burst into his routes? Yes. Does he show where he can do one-step cuts? Yes. Does he show he has great catching ability? I think yes. Can he separate himself? Yes. Does he have rare, unfound, unmatched speed? Yes. I mean, and has he shown that he can do a wide variety of the wide receiver tree that is consistent with what Clemson already runs? I say yes as well. This guy's going to be ready to go. Houston, do you think so too?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. And I think even if you have, you mentioned a couple names of guys that might be on the wide receiving roster in the 2023 season, you don't have to necessarily treat it as, well, we've got this set up this way, this setup. You can always tweak it to who is your best weapons. I mean, honestly, what I'd love for them to do is use him in the same vein as what West Virginia did back in the early to mid 2000s with Tavon Austin. You might just use him, or what Clemson did with Artavis Scott in 2014. You didn't really use him for much except for those little pop passes. And you know what? You're going to get 2 70-yard touchdowns in one game with that sometimes. So you can adjust on the fly. Even if it's a loaded room, you can create formations and game plans to get him the ball at specific times.
All right, we got a chat in there. Jordan Bowman gets in, says, God, I hope we hold on to Ray. Teams are pushing hard. It's always uncomfortable having commits this early. Al, I'm not opposed to having commits early. I know Dabo wants them to sign on the dotted line before their senior season, and a lot of people don't like that. But at least they got them to push it to December. What do you think, Al? Is there a huge risk? Are you worried that Cristobal's down? I know we talked about this a few times about, Miami seems to have that elaborate, shiny new head coach that everybody's loving to see and ready to see what he can do. Does that worry you, considering he's from Miami? By the way, his high school is home of Devonta Freeman. So they have actually put out, I think, over 15 different NFL players from that high school. So definitely a factory down there in Miami. And I know those people in Miami are really big on not losing players to Clemson.
Yeah. I mean, it's always something that perks your ears up a little bit, especially when you got a recruiter like Cristobal. I mean, it's just kind of one of those things that comes with the territory. If you've got players that people are coming after, that's a good sign. Okay, that's what you want. So yeah, I'm all for them signing early, and getting on the commit list, and we can hold on to them. I'm fine with that. I would much rather have that than the situation you're hoping at the very end you might get picked. And then left holding the bag for nothing. So I'm already all for having him, on the commit list. I think that's a good thing. And until I see anything that changes my mind, he's Clemson. So I'm good with it.
Yeah, I think, having that waiting to the last minute is what everybody's complained about this year. So at least it's not that. Let's go ahead and move over to a guy that I loved his film too. I'm going to load this in. This is the QB. The only QB on the list now, because Clemson no longer is in the running for Arch Manning. After all that talk, fellas, of Arch Manning, he did not last very long as a Clemson possible recruit or commit there. So we're going to bring up, let me pull up the banner here real quick. Christopher Vizina. I'm not saying it right. I know I'm not saying it right. Vizina. I know I'm not saying it right. Christopher Vizina. Did I say it right?
There you go.
That's how I would say
it. There's only 2 eyes, but I give it like 3 eyes. That's just how it is. But all right. So Vizina highlight review. Let me pull up. Let me get his video started here real quick. All right. So he's 6'3", 200 pounds, from Briarwood Christian, Birmingham, Alabama. Not too far away from where Pelham, Alabama is, where our head coach was born and raised there. 4-star overall, a top 100 guy for 24/7 Composite Sports, 63 in the nation overall. He's got 30 offers from guys from schools like Auburn, Clemson, Florida, Kentucky, Notre Dame, to name a few there. He is definitely a exciting quarterback to watch when you watch his film. So when I pull up my notes, all right, my notes on QBs. Let me pull it up here real quick. You're looking for somebody around 6'4", 220. Well, he's 6'3", could be 220. That's fine. But this guy, whether he's a pro style or a spread passer or a dual threat, can he throw on a dime to those certain route tree routes, right? Those bread and butter ones, as I like to call them. I say yes. I see a lot of plays where he's just hitting guys in stride for deep balls. I love it. It's exciting to see. Another thing that I see out of him is that he is a dual threat guy. It's not afraid to knock somebody over or run the ball. I actually put in here, he's not really a Tim Tebow. He's not, to me, not a Mitchell Trubisky, and he's taller than Sam Howell. I went ahead and put in here that this guy is a Kelly Bryant with a better arm. So that is my comparable for him because he's 6'3". Kelly Bryant, I think, was about 6'4", but he still has that confidence and just the way that he moves his body out of the pocket and runs and escapes tackles and then still keeps his head down the field to make big plays, as you see right there on the screen. A lot to be excited about. I think if you don't get Arch Manning, which we know Clemson's out of the running, I mean, this guy is not a number 2. This guy is definitely 1A, 1B for me. Al, or we'll start with Houston since we did Al on the last one.
You know, I'll be honest. Some of the film that I watched of him wasn't this. I saw some on YouTube, and it wasn't as like a film like this, like a highlight tape. And so I was at first I was kind of like, well, maybe they're thinking more Chase Bryce, but seeing like this, he's a lot more athletic and he's got a lot more live arm than I thought. He reads well. He runs well, and I don't know if I would put him necessarily in the vein of like a Kelly Bryant. I think it is more of a similar vein to like a Mitchell Trubisky, but with better legs and a better arm. He reads the field better to me than the film that Mitchell Trubisky put out. I think he's good. I think this guy's a big body quarterback with a live arm, and there is a lot to be excited about with this.
Al, what are your thoughts on Vizina?
Yeah, look, I love his film. I absolutely love his film. Like you mentioned, he's close to your prototypical size that you're looking for. Maybe a couple inches taller would be nice, but he's got great arm strength. He's accurate even when he's on the run. He's really tough to bring down in the run game. I love the way he makes plays in the run game and makes plays with his feet. He's got good enough speed to make that happen and to keep the defense honest. And a lot of times, he's making moves. Like I said, they're trying to tackle him and they can't. I really like the way he has the ability to square his shoulders on the rollout. When he's, which helps him be a lot more accurate on the run for sure. He extends plays, whether he's in or out of the pocket. It doesn't really matter. I mean, he's able to kind of juke a defender here or there. He's got a real compact, quick release. I really like that from him. I can't speak to the level of competition. I'm not really sure what he's playing against over there. And there's at times, I've seen a few times in the pocket, where he tends to panic, get a little happy feet kind of. But other than that, man, I love this kid's film. Yeah, I think it's a 1A, 1B situation like you were talking about. I'm not concerned at all that we missed on the Arch Manning sweepstakes. If you can get this guy, I'm all for it.
I will say this, when it comes to some of the things that were listed on things you're looking for when you're watching film. Does he work out of a similar system as Clemson? Yes. So that's a plus for him. How accurate is his deep ball? How accurate is the comeback? How accurate is the dig and the seam route? Those are some really key plays that you need to be very consistent with and have good footwork with, good release and good timing. And he's able to put it right in stride, at least in the film that we're seeing. So that, again, is another positive. What's the deepest ball we've seen? On the film, the deepest ball I saw was about 50-yarder. Now, typically you'd want to see, if you're going to be in a 5-star range, you'd want to see about a 70 or 80-yarder, more of the DJ Uiagalelei types. I don't see any film of that, but I definitely see some film of him being at the 50-yard line and being able to throw it into the end zone. So he can definitely get to 50 and beyond. Can he throw it through the goalpost from the 40? I don't know. That's what a lot of them like to practice doing, is from the opposite 40. Can he go through the goalpost? We didn't see anything that deep, but he's still, again, is it so much about how deep you are, or is it how accurate you are? That was a question this year. That was a big question this year. So is he throwing players open? That would be the one thing where I still have a question mark on. Is he throwing players open? Now, I know he's throwing to guys open that are in stride, in step, but is the guy not open when he releases the ball? I don't really see any film on that at all. The comebackers, the back shoulder, the kind of the fade where they're still kind of one-on-one, or even in a jump ball situation where he's locating it specifically to the corner of the end zone. I don't really see that. So A lot of the stuff, perfect, great in stride, really accurate. But is he throwing them open? I don't know. We'll see. I mean, we're very limited on the film we can see. But if I was going to nitpick anything, that's what I would say. But again, you're getting a guy who I think has a great arm, better than Kelly Bryant, but as good of a runner as Kelly Bryant. So that's the kind of guy you're getting, Kelly Bryant 2.0. And that's what I got to say about it. Houston, any last thoughts on Vizina before we move on to our next player, our final player of the night?
You mean Vizina? No, I think
Vizina.
Vizina, he's got a big. I like his film, and I think at the worst of this, at the very worst, you have somebody who can come in and be a quality guy that you could trust if somebody like DJ or Cade went down. I would feel comfortable putting the ball in this kid's hands.
All right, so we'll pause that real quick. We'll come back and we'll pull down the banner and we'll see what the chat has to say before going to our final player. Hillbilly Paul says, "I like this QB a lot. Good vision, great accuracy." Hufferbilly Paul, sorry, excuse me.
The reading is so hard.
Hufferbilly Paul. I just assume it's one thing and it's definitely not. I like the QB a lot. Good vision, great accuracy, and mobile too. And I get a good LOL emoji for that one. So thank you, Hufferbilly, for that. And he also says athletes are priceless. I think he was talking back about Joseph, but I agree with that, man. I mean, you get somebody with raw speed like that, you can't keep him off the field. Even if he's not the best wide receiver, you can't keep him off the field. All right, final guy of the night. And we'll have these videos. If you missed any of them, we'll have them loaded up as a highlight film later this week. But let me get the banner up here. This is Justice Haynes, not Hayes, Haynes, Justice Haynes. And we will throw up some video of him. All right, so Justice Haynes, running back, 5'10", 200 pounds, from Blessed Trinity Catholic out of Roswell, Georgia. So not too far away, class of 2023, 4-star overall, top 50 nationally for 24/7 Sports Composite. They already got crystal balls out for him. Rusty Manziel has a 4 confidence that he will go to Georgia. He has 35 total offers: Georgia, Ohio State, Alabama, Arizona, Arkansas, and Clemson's on there as well. These are the guys. The reason why we're going through these guys is because they did end up visiting Clemson during the Elite Junior Day this January. So they are worth a review because they gave Clemson a visit. So I believe we started with Houston on the last one. So Big Al, what do you think about Justice Haynes? I mean, again, I'm looking at him. These 3 guys, their film is great. I love them all.
Yeah, his film is fantastic. This kid has elite vision, really good balance, is smooth runner, very smooth runner. He's got pretty good speed as well. Very tough to bring down. You know, he's able to lower the body on the short yardage. You know, he's able to do that, which you always wonder about some of these guys that, you know, they're a little more shifty, and sometimes you're like, well, can they power through somebody? This guy can power through somebody. He's still got good moves, good lateral quickness as well. He's unbelievable with his cuts and moves in open space. You know, his hands look good on the tosses, but I would like to see, you know, some more film or some film of him catching out of the backfield. We don't really see a lot of that. I don't know if you see any of it, to be honest with you. You know, who knows whether he can, you know, block well, pass block, and pick up his blitzing assignments. I wouldn't say he has elite speed, but he has certainly good enough speed to be a great running back. And he doesn't meet a lot of resistance at the line of scrimmage in this film. And some of that is because maybe, you know, how well his line's blocking. Some of that's probably due to his vision. I'm telling you, I love the way this guy seems to play chess out there on the field. If you'll watch this film, he is always looking 3 moves ahead, and he's doing it in a split second. He sees the lanes opening up. He sees where the blocks are coming in at, when to cut back. It's some of the best vision I have ever seen. And it's not like I've been doing this for 20 years, but I've been doing it. You know, I've reviewed a lot of running backs, and the vision on this kid is absolutely incredible. However, and this is a big however, I'll believe it when I see it when we beat Georgia for running back that they want, especially like
After this year, you kind of like beat up a little bit over this. This will be a great get for CJ Spiller, and somebody that I think CJ Spiller could teach to be an elite first round draft pick type player. I mean, like you said, Al, within moments, within the 5-yard line, he's already found what he's going to do at the second level, and he's gone. I mean,
Yeah.
and I don't know how his competition is. I don't think that his team is the best team in the state. I don't think that they're one of the top Georgia teams out there. But man, he is so. I mean, look at that film right there. He within seconds is 10 yards past the safeties. Houston, what's your thoughts?
To me, he's like a baby Ezekiel Elliott. That's just kind of the vibe that I get. Anytime he's hard to bring down, he's not afraid of contact, great vision, and he's a long strider when he gets free. He's baby Zeke. I know he's not as big as Zeke Elliott, but he just his running style is what reminds me of him. And I think that we can always wax poetic about, oh well, if he gets it's Clemson, yeah, we said that about Branson Robinson too. And I'm optimistic. I know that the odd thing about this class is there are a lot of good running backs in this class. So you're curious to see who Georgia does take. Definitely would believe that they're going to be, dead set on getting somebody like Justice Hayes. But you also have, Richard Young, Trayon Webb, some other guys out there that Georgia might have their sights set on. So who knows? But I believe it when I see it. And plus, there's some other good running backs out there that we haven't reviewed yet and who haven't visited that I would be anticipating getting an offer sometime soon. Hint, hint, some kid out of Dutch Fork that has pretty good film as well. But dude, if we're talking about just straight up running back, this kid's legit. He's really good.
I mean, to Al's point, you don't see him getting much resistance at the line of scrimmage. So he's able to get to the linebackers relatively not tripped up at all, which we know that's not common in college. So, he's going to meet some resistance at that line of scrimmage more often than not. In this film we're seeing, I think he finished the year with 30 total touchdowns. With the film we're seeing, I mean, you would expect him to have way more touchdowns than that over a season. But, I don't know what's keeping him from being a 5-star because I'm looking at everything right now. Does he have power? I believe so. Does he have speed? Does he have great balance? Can he pull away from the second level? I think he checks all those boxes, and I really enjoy watching his film. I would love to see Clemson land a running back like this. I know it is already tough because you have basically one 5-star in Will Shipley and another 5-star in Phil Maffa, who really wasn't given a 5-star, but I believe is definitely valuable enough to be the 5-star. And so it's going to be difficult to kind of sell that because you got to say, hey, there are two guys that are legit killers back there in the backfield. Now, to Dabo Sweeney's point that he said in the past, you can't the greatest players out there, the guys like Trevor Lawrence, the guys like Taj Boyd, the guys like Deshaun Watson, they never asked who's on the roster. And that's what you want. If you got somebody in high school that's already asking who's on the roster, then maybe they're not as confident in their skills as they show on film. You really want, if you're going to get some elite player that's going to change your university or your team or your season around or turn it around and make your team a better running team or even take it to the house with confidence, they're not going to worry about who's on the roster. And so we'll see what happens, but I still am realistic in the sense that I know people do look at rosters and I see, Shipley and Maffa were just freshmen. So now they're sophomores moving into the next season. So we'll see how it goes. Let's pull up everybody. That was the end of our film here, and appreciate everybody getting in and giving us your thoughts here. Let's go back through the chat real quick and see where everybody's at. Huffer Paul says, best Clemson football YouTube channel. And then he says, I'm here in Roswell High School District. This guy is the real deal. Stephen Branham over on Facebook says, I think all three of you do a great job on this show. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you. And then Huffer Paul says, CJ is salivating here. I would agree with that. Steve says we need to get him back on campus ASAP. Al, would you agree with that? I mean, he's already been on junior day. He got around some other really great players like Joseph and Vizina and some other guys out there. So, I mean, I think that's the key for Clemson is if they stop coming to camp or if they stop coming to visits, then you got to kind of say Clemson needs to move on because, they're really not interested. But if he does keep coming, then you got to keep putting up higher on the list, right?
Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. I think that's kind of the thing. You like to see where they're visiting the most. A lot of time that's a telltale sign, and we'll see how that works out for Clemson. We've gotten the most visits before, and sometimes it doesn't go our way, but that's all right. This guy's an elite player, and you keep that door open as long as he's willing to walk through it. So I think that's kind of the thing we're looking at here. But I absolutely love the take, and I'd be ecstatic for Clemson to get him.
Huffer Billy gets in again, says, I'll get my son to get him out to go out to lunch, and I will let him know how great Clemson is. Now, let's say you need to do this within the confines of the NIL. And if you own a business, I'm just saying, figure it out.
Yeah, make it happen.
I mean, it's all fair game now in the new world of NIL and sponsorships and all this other stuff. So, but I hope you guys enjoyed the show. I mean, we talked about a ton, man. It's 8:24, a little bit after 8 o'clock, but we appreciate everybody getting in over on chat. We've had a good amount of people over on Facebook and YouTube. If you haven't already, make sure you hit the like button on Facebook and the like button on YouTube. And if you also haven't, make sure you subscribe too, because what I'll do is after the show, I'll download the video. I'll cut up the video into pieces. Anything you missed that you just caught, maybe the tail end, I will throw up on YouTube and you'll be able to see that. I'll also post them on Facebook as well too. So you can be a part of that conversation. And we also like to talk throughout the week on Twitter at The Morgan T Show and Houston at Radio Guy Houston over on Twitter. So go check us out there. Al doesn't do Twitter. He's got more things going on in his life than that. He can't be on social media like we can. But again, we appreciate everybody getting in. What's coming up for the rest of the year? Well, we know the spring game is in April, so we still got some time for that. But they're going to be back at the beginning of March. I think March the 2nd, and getting back into their routine. They kind of took a little bit of a break. One thing I wanted to push by you guys or throw at you guys before we go. Last topic. Thoughts on DJ's video of him throwing it in Texas. I think I'm very encouraged. And I beat him up a lot. I really have. But he's slimmed down. He looks like he's lost at least 15 pounds. I would say maybe 20 pounds. He slimmed down. He looks good. Now, I know a lot of the naysayers are always going to be out there. But for me, if a guy picked your university and is showing that he's trying to improve his skills, I'm not going to beat him up in the offseason. I don't understand Clemson fans that say they're diehard Clemson fans on their bio and then go and torch DJ for practicing harder. Or it's not his fault these things get shared on social media. A lot of people say, well, he shouldn't be posting. Do these in quiet. Don't post it on social media. He didn't even post this. This is not him. This is like Rivals guys posting this. So I think we got to, as Clemson fans, don't nitpick DJ, so much to the point where when you see he's trying to do better and improve, that you still just talk about how terrible he is. I know he's got a bunch of mistakes. I know he's got a lot of things to work through. But for me, when I watch a video like that, I'm encouraged. He went to 3D QB in Texas. Matthew Stafford's gone there. Jared Goff's gone there. Matt Ryan, Dak Prescott. It's not like some, backwoods thing in Fountain Inn over here. This is a legit training camp facility. Not only teaches about biometrics and different things with throwing motion and things like that, but also with his eating habits and other things too outside of the playing field. So I don't know, Houston, we'll start with you. What did you think about those videos? Were you encouraged or what?
Yeah, as encouraged as you could be. You're not going to really know until pads get put on, but at the same time, it seems like he's getting a little bit more confidence back in where he throws it. He made some pretty good throws in the short films that it was. And look, if anybody's getting mad at this, if there's anybody actually dogging him for putting this up or being a part of this, it just shows me that you were a part of a time. You're a boomer that was not a part of social media, that you have not been able to accomplish half of what this kid's been able to accomplish in half the time that you have. So really just shut your mouth That's what I got to say. Let this kid practice and let him get better, because I can tell you this. I will be super thrilled if DJ does great and just shoves it right back in their face at the end of this.
And you know what? Mickey Plyler's mentioned this on his show a lot. And even Big Dave has come out on Twitter. I mean, to be honest with you, his mom and dad are going through a rough patch right now. Well, I don't know the whole details about it, but when you're a young kid and you're thousands of miles away from home, thousands of miles away from mom, there are players every single day almost getting into the transfer portal to go back home. So DJ could do that, but he has chosen to fight and stick with it and stay at Clemson. And remember, he picked Clemson a long time ago. And you as a fan picked Clemson a long time ago too. So there was something about Clemson that you loved and that DJ loved too. And again, you know, it's not easy. My old boss used to say, when your house is out of order, it's hard to have the business in order. And I think that might be some of the things that happened to DJ. Al, what are your thoughts?
Look, I'm guessing, I'm hoping y'all are talking about the same clips that I saw. And there's like 2 or 3 5-second clips. Is all that I really saw. Okay, so yeah, I mean, look, I like the fact that he was slimmed down. He appeared to be, anyways, seemed a little lighter on his feet, so that was good to see. But yeah, I'm not really encouraged necessarily by anything I saw. I'm not encouraged by throwing against air with no pass rush or anything like that. And hey, this is coming from a guy that was the leader of the DJ defense train all year. I'm the guy that said, hey, there's a lot of other moving parts to this thing, whether it's O-line, whether it's coaching, whether it's receivers or any of that stuff. And so I don't think a lot of it should have – I think DJ got a lot of undue blame. When I was well aware he had things, he needed to work on. He's got a lot to work on for sure. But I just thought – I thought there were so many factors that went into this and went into his, his bad season, his underperforming season. And so, I hope he gets it all turned around. I can't really tell anything from those videos, but yeah, as long as he's doing what he thinks it takes to better himself and to lead this Clemson program, I'm happy for him. I'm all for it, and I'm pulling for him.
Well, even the best quarterback, the cockiest quarterback with the best skill players around him, wide receivers, could not win the Super Bowl after getting sacked 7 times. So there's more than just being the greatest quarterback with the greatest skill players around you. You have to have protection too. We know DJ struggled with that. Being able to stay in the pocket when literally there was no pocket. We saw many times where a left guard, left tackle, right tackle was basically lost and allowed the pass rush to get to him. So there's a lot of things that need to get cleaned up. And then on top of that, it's, when you are accurate, they drop the ball. So not just one thing. And it definitely wasn't just DJ, but I appreciate everybody getting in. Again, make sure you hit the like button. All right. That's what you got to do. That's your homework for tonight. Before you go, hit the like button, subscribe over on YouTube, follow over on Facebook, and we'll see you next week. And we'll talk more about Clemson baseball, basketball, softball, and some more recruiting. We're going to continue to go through the junior day visits and into more players that Clemson's eyeing or the top players from different states. We're going to try all different kinds of things. But on behalf of Big Al, Houston, and myself, we'll see you, Tiger fans, at the top of the hill.
Tiger fans, Greenville is a wonderful place to call home, and take it from me, a great place to grow your family. The housing market can be an extremely competitive and intimidating place if you don't have the right agent. That's why we recommend our friend and local agent Lana Smith with Live Upstate SC Real Estate. She is a native of Greenville and has been serving the needs of families in the upstate for over 20 years. You need an agent proficient in navigating the world of multiple offers who will put your needs first and guide you through the process. Let Lana help you achieve your real estate goals. Call her today at 864-608-8313. Again, that's 864-608-8313. And let's get moving. If you're looking for a great atmosphere and good food, you have to check out the Charleston Sports Pub. They're the premier sports bar location in South Carolina with locations in Clemson, Greenville, Goose Creek, James Island, Mount Pleasant, Summerville, and West Ashley. Watch all the games while you have fun playing all their games. Tiger fans, we dine there, legends dine there like Taj Boyd, and so should you. Go eat at the Charleston Sports Pub in Clemson every game day. 359 College Avenue, Clemson. Family owned and operated, serving Anderson County and surrounding areas since 1980. Heating and Cooling Services, Inc. is your residential and commercial comfort expert. Anything from preventative maintenance of your home HVAC system to overhauling a commercial chiller and everything in between. If you want to breathe easier and be nice and cool in your home or business this summer or warm this winter, give Heating and Cooling Services, Inc. a call today. Give Mark or Jason Trammell a call at 864-224-7655. Again, 864-224-7655, and they'll take good care of you. Tiger fans, we don't just dress for success, we TS for success. That's Tiger Sports Shop. We shop there so much that they practically begged us to be sponsors for them. Not serious, but we do love shopping at Tiger Sports Shop in one of their two locations, 364 College Avenue and 1102 Tiger Boulevard in Clemson. If you're not in Clemson to check out the experience, stop by online at www.tigersports.com. Again, tigersports.com for all your game day needs.